Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo YOGA C740. This is a 2-in-1 with a 14-inch Full HD display. I'll show you on the side of the box right here the specifications. We have a 10th gen Intel Core i5, that's the 10210U. We have 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and as I already mentioned, a 14-inch Full HD IPS touchscreen panel, 4-cell battery, Windows 10 Home. This is the mica color, and in my opinion, this is arguably one of the most affordable and well-made 2-in-1s on the market. Now, I say that specifically because this is incredibly similar to the C940 that I reviewed, at the end of the year, and they've removed or omitted some features in order to differentiate the product line, and I think that they've done a really nice job with this, and I'm expecting much of the same experience, but understandably missing the components that I know aren't there. For example, the 360-degree soundbar hinge is not in the lineup, which I think is one of the best elements of the C940, but I don't think it's necessary, and considering the price difference, granted this is an i5 and the C940 that I covered was the i7. In addition to that, there is no included pen with this 2-in-1, but I think that it is, again, when we're talking about build quality, fit and finish, I think Lenovo did a really good job this year. I think you'll see that on this machine right now. Let me just get the balance of the contents out of the box. We've got some paperwork, the power brick right there, and the power brick is the same 65-watt charger that came with the C940, and then there's the wall adapter, and that's it. I'm not going to break out the paperwork because it's pretty much self-explanatory. So this laptop does not have Thunderbolt 3. That's the first thing I want to point out. You can see we have a Type A USB port right there, our power button. The design is nearly identical, as I already mentioned, as is the weight. Headphone jack on the left side, 2 Type-C ports, and as I mentioned, they're not Thunderbolt 3, but they are functional and obviously for charging first and foremost, display. So that's what they're there for, data transfer, they can do all of that. On the back, we have our ventilation. This is where that 360-degree hinge that is a soundbar on the C940 lives. And this is also where you'd find the pen, which is not here. It would traditionally be right here, garaged. But build quality is identical. Keyboard is pretty much identical. Let's go ahead and pop this open. We've got a little more paper crap from Lenovo. Put that aside. And, the RAM is fixed, so bear in mind that if you do need a system with 16 gigs, get it. You're not going to be able to upgrade this. You can upgrade, the SSD, so that's the good news with that. Let's see if we have any charge out of the box. There is a kill switch for the camera. You can see right here, they're actually noting it. No Windows Hello, so much like the C940 again, no Windows Hello. The speakers are integrated here. I don't think that's a big design hit. Yes, it's not as clean looking as the C940, but it's substantially less expensive. Trackpad looks to be exactly the same, and fingerprint scanner right here. Build quality just is really good, better than what you would expect from most of the 2-in-1s in the budget friendly class that this sits in. Don't get me wrong, if you go to the 16 gig model with Core i7, you are going to be looking at $1,000 US. That is enough that I would tell you, instead of speccing one of these to the highest capability, look elsewhere. Move on to the C940 because, you have to pick up a pen separately here. You do not have 4K display options if you actually desire them. But when you look at that screen and you see how minimal the bezel is, I mean, it all speaks to this being a more modern machine than the balance of the competition in its class. I mean, outside of the machine I ended up sticking with, which is the HP Spectre 13T with the 90 percent screen to body ratio. This is right there in second place with 88%, and it is really impressive. I'm going to see if I can power this up and at least just see what that display looks like. But again, another nice thing about this mica color, some people prefer the iron gray, is that the mica is not going to leave fingerprints at all. You're not going to have a cleanup job at the end of the day when you're done with this. So I think that's something really nice. Excuse me while I plug in the power supply and see if we can just get power going to this. And I'll see if I can just walk through quickly the Windows setup. So, I mean, in my opinion, if you are out there for a budget-friendly machine, it's tough to go wrong with this guy because, you know, overall, you are getting a relatively powerful machine that's going to have solid battery life. And in addition to all of that, it's not that expensive. I mean, right now, this is on sale. You're looking at an original retail of $800, and I believe you can get it for around $600. So I think that's fairly good when you look at the big picture and all of the competition. As I try to get that plugged in, we'll see if I got power out of that. And overall, it's pretty tough to beat this guy. And that's, so I'm going to the wrong side from the C940 charging. Now, I would have liked to have seen Thunderbolt, but, you know, you can't win them all, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And it should show me that we're picking up power, which we aren't. So let me just make sure everything is set and firm. But overall, this is one of those machines that, because it is so similar to the C940, that's what makes it, in my opinion, the most compelling option out there. You know, I could certainly recommend other machines that I don't think are in the same league, but I don't think that would really make too much sense, because here you are getting something that generally, like the C940, but just sans a few things. So let's see, now we should have power. You can see the backlight coming on, or at least I saw it. And that is one thing with this, with the mica color, the backlight contrast is, you know, not the best in class. Just because of the color, it doesn't seem to separate that well. And there we go, got the Lenovo splash. Let's go ahead and get it booted up. But I mean, when you think about battery life, performance, again, this is a Core i5. You don't have the Iris Plus graphics. But if you're just looking for a great Ultrabook that's competent in doing just about anything, again, very good battery life, very good build quality, I think this is one of the machines out there that, you know, to beat. I am currently reviewing the Comet Lake VAIOs, SX12, SX14. That'll be a good comparison for the 14-inch version with this machine. The VAIOs are much more expensive. They are made in Japan, not made in China. Build quality, I think, is better on the VAIOs than the Lenovos.
I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
Speakers are decent on this. You know, they're not fantastic.
A touch of Wi-Fi.
Let me get rid of her. But what is nice about this, again, is pricing. I mean, if I compare the pricing on this machine to what you get with VAIO, you will be spending a lot more money, whether it's the SX12 or SX14, for that made in Japan carbon fiber goodness. On weight here, 3 pounds. I think that's perfectly fine. The VAIO is a lot lighter, and that's another thing you have to take into account. I mean, the carbon fiber as opposed to the aluminum build here makes a big difference. So let's just zip through this, and I will go ahead and connect to my Wi-Fi network, bring it back, and I think that the SSD here is going to be fairly quick, so I'm not concerned about that. I think having the touch screen, at least to me at this point in time, is a must-have feature. You know, it's something where I love those VAIO laptops, but boy, do I wish that they had touchscreen. I mean, the lack of touchscreen is a bit of a buzzkill, I have to say. And I know not everyone requires it, so I'm not saying you have to have touchscreen, but, you know, I've been using touchscreen-based Windows 10 machines now for a long time, so to work on anything sans touch is just a little bit awkward. It's always good to have that form of input, even if you have a giant trackpad like this machine. which I do think is fantastic, I still am one of those people that would rather have touch input. The hinge on this is fairly solid, so you don't get a lot of wobble, which is going to be good for those of you out there that are artists and want to actually utilize this for drawing. I mean, again, you will have to pick up a pen, but I don't see that as being a big deal. I'm going to try to skip this if I can. Should let me. Should. But either way, I mean, it's just one of those things where I think that they've done a solid job. I mean, I feel like what Lenovo has done with this is set a bit of a benchmark for the industry with what Ultrabooks should look like, feel like, perform like, and at this point, I think everybody's kind of trying to just follow suit because this is clean, it's lightweight, it's got solid build quality. When I was putting the C940 up against the HP Spectre X360 2-in-1, the 13T, as well as the Surface Pro, the Surface Pro X, and the Surface Laptop, I really found that the Lenovo Yoga series were the only machines that seemed to be built very similarly to what Microsoft is doing with the Surface Laptop line. And that lineup gets so much praise, and the pricing is just outrageous for what they deliver. Here, on the other hand, I feel like, for those of you that are wondering what's missing between it and the C940, I mentioned the pen, I mentioned the soundbar. Also, you don't have the little branding lip to lift up the front, which I don't care about at all. You do not have Thunderbolt 3, and that's it. Beyond that, that's pretty much the whole story. The battery in here might be a little bit smaller. I have to double check on that, but it may be exactly the same. They've omitted enough things between Thunderbolt 3, again, the sound experience, and of course, the actual overall aesthetic being nearly identical. They've omitted enough to lower that price. So, I mean, not having the pen docked is one of the signatures of this machine. And of course, being able to throw it into any position you want, the beauty of a 2-in-1. But one thing the C940, as well as this machine, do not have are any form of nubs or feet that when you do throw it into content consumption mode, that there's anywhere to be seated. So that's something I wish they had done. But again, they're keeping the machine clean, and I like it. By the way, this 1080p panel, I believe, is also HDR capable. So that'll be interesting to test out, and I'll do that when I give all of you an update. But that's pretty much it. I'll get this set up, take it through the paces, and we'll see what we're working with here with the C740 and the Intel 10th Gen i5. And 8 gigs of RAM, again, depending on what you're doing, I think it'll be perfectly fine. If you're out there to photo edit, video edit, then you probably will want 16 gigs of RAM. But if this is just, a basic browsing machine that's going to give you access to light pieces of software, business-related stuff, you're perfectly fine with a build like this, and you'll find it on sale, which is even better. So a lot to like here. Basically, the C940, as I've mentioned, without, 3 or 4 things. So all the goodness it has to offer, except for those 3 or 4 things, which I think is an easy thing to swallow when you save all that money. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them at that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.